It has been a little while since I last casted a game of this man right here in the top left-hand corner of Thunderbird. He's one of the most successful StarCraft 2 players of all time, if not the most successful SC2 player of all time. Of course, that means we're looking inside of the main base of INnoVation. I actually saw someone comment the other day asking, Loko, why haven't you casted any INnoVation games recently? It's not so much that I didn't want to, it's just that he's had a bit of a tougher time in the second half of 2019 compared to the first half. Obviously, in March, he ended up winning WESG for $150,000, but he's still been chipping away at tournaments here and there, bringing his grand total in prize earnings for 2019 to a little bit under 200,000. So he certainly hasn't had a bad year. It's just in comparison to, I guess, previous years of INnoVation, it may not have been as dominating as it was in the past. But once again, of course, he's absolutely incredible. His opponent, though, certainly has been in a spotlight. I am a self-proclaimed fanboy of this man right here, playing with the green Zerg drones from Italy. We have Reynor. I think I've pretty much said everything there is to be said about Reynor up to this point. He won WCS Winter, he won WCS Summer, he got second place at WCS Fall, second place at the Global Finals, he made the semifinals of WCS Spring as well, and most recently, he got second place at Home Story Cup 20, and that is all in 2019, at the age of like 16/17 years old. It's pretty ridiculous. In prize earnings alone for 2019, he's also got a little bit under 200,000, obviously for both players. That does not include any team salaries or sponsorships or whatever. I know, for example, that Reynor is sponsored as well by Red Bull. I'm sure that he's doing just fine at his current age as well. Alrighty, so this game was played at Home Story Cup. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm excited to figure out what it is all about. This was played during one of the early group stages. So, yeah, Reynor ended up getting second place at that tournament. Actually, INnoVation did extremely well as well, but that is not a spoiler for this game whatsoever. We're just going to figure out slowly but surely what is going to happen in this matchup. And I'm actually really curious to see it. So, one of the developments we have been seeing over the last couple of weeks in SC2 for the Zerg versus Terran matchup is really the introduction of the Lurker versus Bio. For the longest time, versus Bio, so versus Marine, Marauder, Medivac-based armies, the Lurker was not considered to be as good as the alternatives. Now, since the nerf, of course, of the Infestor, and then also a bunch of other changes to this matchup, all of a sudden, the Lurker has become a little bit more interesting. It also received a buff. So the changes to the Lurker, and by the way, I don't know if we're going to be seeing Lurkers here. I'm secretly hoping, though, that it is the case, because I would love to talk about it a little bit more. But the changes to the Lurker are twofold. So first off, the Lurker Den builds a little bit faster. Secondly, there's a new upgraded Hive Tech that brings the total range of the Lurker to 10. So from 9 to 10. It's quite significant. It adds up. I can talk about it a little bit more if Reynor decides to go for that style in this game. And he actually has been a big fan of that style. He's very, very good at it. So we'll see exactly what is going to end up going down here in this particular match. Do have that harassment over here. The Reaper trying to poke away. Not expecting it to get all too many kills. Quick 3-hatch opener here from Reynor. He did decide to go for that Overlord speed. Overlord speed, once again, is back up to 100 minerals and 100 gas. There was a Marine here somewhere. Oh, there it is. It was trying to gun down that Overlord. Overlord, though, feeling brave, even at low hit points. It is still going to fly into the main base and indeed find out exactly what it is that the Terran player is going for. And that's a very quick third command center. So there's a couple of different ways you can open up TVZ right now at the highest level. Generally speaking, on this map, on Thunderbird, and you know, on maps where you can safely expand towards a third quite easily, we do see this build order. So this is on paper safe against pretty much everything if your micro is perfect. Obviously very difficult to pull that off. But if you see that your opponent is going to go for that quick third hatchery, usually this is a safe opener here for the Terran player. It's something that you can quite easily defend. So the third CC obviously will allow him to start dropping mules really quickly and really boost that early game economy. Now, one big change as well, and you can notice that here already with the queen positioning, is that active creep tumors can no longer be cancelled. And what that means is that basically after the tumor first is put down, right, obviously it's very vulnerable, but then when you spread it, in the past you could cancel it if it was being attacked. Right now, that is no longer possible, meaning that Zergs will have to start protecting their creep tumors and the perimeter of their creep a lot more. So that's why you see Reynor right here being very aggressive with these queens and really making additional queens, probably more than he wanted to here initially, although he's actually only at 6. It's not too crazy whatsoever. Now, the advantage, I guess, of having that Overlord speed here early is that you can confirm exactly what's going on. When it comes to the Quick 3 Command Center opener, there are once again a couple of varieties. One of them is the Battlecruiser variety, and, well, if there's a Battlecruiser, you definitely are going to need a couple more queens than just a 6. INnoVation, hello. Alright. He's sleeping on the job. Miss-microing just a little bit. Probably was busy macroing up at home. Losing the one Viking, not a big deal. Right now also, though, losing those Hellions over here. And that's really where Reynor shines, right? Like, it's hard to pinpoint exactly what makes a player like Reynor so very good. I'm really curious to see what 2020 is going to be like, okay? So, honestly, so here's the thing. If you compare the two top non-Korean Zerg players, right? And that's obviously Serral and Reynor. They play very differently. So Serral is extremely mechanical and just extremely good at macroing and just producing a lot of stuff and making the correct decisions in the right moments. It kind of feels like to me, and feel free to disagree with me in the comment section down below, that Reynor has more of like a star sense and like a killer instinct. Like, for example, I don't think Reynor would, or Serral rather, would go off creep there to try and get this around on those Hellions. Right? It's just a small example, but Reynor is very aggressive and he really punishes small mistakes. If you don't lift your depots, I can guarantee you, like, once again, look at this. This is not something that Serral would usually do very often. They play differently. And if you, like, leave a depot unchecked later on, he will run in with Zerglings all the time, and he has more of, like, a killer instinct. It feels like to me, right? If we compared, like, Reynor to Reynor of, like, 2 years ago, he's become significantly better. It feels to me that he has the potential to become better than Serral himself within like the next year or two. I would not be all too surprised. He's become ridiculously good. About a year ago or so, we used to critique his late game in particular. Well, he certainly has patched that up. He's become one of the most ridiculous late game players in the world. And I think even though he used to be very mid-game focused, if he can continue working on his gameplay in general, and obviously he's only like 17, right? There's a lot of potential for this guy to become much better than the greatest players in the game right now. At the very least, it's a call I'm willing to stand by, okay? We'll see. I can't predict the future, sadly. Alright, by the way, it is going to be that Lurker Den. So nice little play there. By the way, we did see some harassment here and there and all that, but nice play here with that Lurker Den. I do like the Lurker play quite a bit right now. It's actually interesting. We've been seeing a variety of ways to getting there. So there is that Roach Ravager style that's very popular. So Roach Ravager into Hydra and then Lurkers with Vipers eventually. What Reynor has been favoring recently is to go Ling Bane and then into a Viper Lurker eventually. It's a bit of a different playstyle and a different road to getting there. It does allow you to start upgrading those melee units much faster, and you do have the potential to go into, for example, like Ultralisks and a lot more run-bys later on as well, but it does leave you a little bit vulnerable, especially in the mid-game. Now, the nice thing about Lurkers is that they are extremely good defensively. If your opponent tries to run up a ramp, right, and there's like 3 Lurkers over there, everything dies, right? Say you want to stim up with a massive army over there, the Lurkers will kill everything. I think, though, we will probably see a pretty quick Hive here. Where's the Hive? Oh, it's actually already at Hive. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, you do need to see that that Hive upgrade, because otherwise you can't really use them very easily offensively. So there's 2 upgrades right now in the Lurker Den. One of them is called Seismic Spines, or Seismic Spines. That's this one right here. That's essentially the Lurker ranged upgrade. And then there's also a Lurker burrow upgrade that makes them burrow significantly faster. In order to use them offensively, you kind of need both upgrades. So it's going to take some time here before Reynor is going to start moving across the map with it. I'm a little bit worried, though, right now for the Terran player here. I mean, not a lot has happened, and usually that's in favor of Zerg, right? Reynor hasn't really allowed anything to happen. Look at the creep spread. Even though the creep spread got nerfed, yeah, it's still looking pretty good, huh? Still looking pretty good. He's been able to defend pretty much every single drop so far, not taking any real critical damage. Although right now, once again, INnoVation is going to try and, well, just simply fly by here. There's a drop right here in the northern section of the map too that will be cleaned up by the Zerg. But if he actually gets that Lurker Den, that would be quite huge. This drop, though, probably not going to be able to achieve too much as well, although that is a significant amount of Marines. He's going to try and tuck away into this corner, and I don't see any Banelings here. Okay, there's a couple of Banelings coming up right now. I was going to say, that could be a disaster. Still, though, really nicely done. The Viper actually abducting one of those Medivacs. Marines load up as soon as the Banelings arrive, and they drop now inside of that main base. And this is actually starting to become a massive nuisance, because in the meantime, obviously, more and more drops are loaded up on the side of the Terran player as well. And this is the downside of playing Lurkers. You don't have as many Banelings in position. You gotta be more careful. Ooh, big parasitic bomb. That parasitic bomb can actually kill everything. There's also, of course, that... that Spore Crawler from earlier. And it does mean that eventually, all of those Medivacs will be picked off. Could have been a disaster. I think the crisis has been averted, but I would have loved to see these mineral patches knocked down a little bit quicker. I think that still would be a good idea, right? Just so you can reinforce this area of the map a little bit easier. Alright, so more Medivacs were indeed loaded up. They're gonna basically just do some spring cleaning over here, even though it's middle of winter here in Europe. Actually, it's not winter yet. We're not even there yet. Ooh, one Lurker being brave. Ooh, once again, ooh, massive drop inside of that main base. He must have scooped that around the edges of the map. I didn't really properly pay attention to that. He is actually getting a lot of work done here, and this is gonna hurt. Good splits here, trying to get those Banelings before they detonate on all of that bio. Once again, beautiful work. Also good splits there on those Medivacs. This hurts a lot. Yeah, this is a lot of damage that the Zerg is able to do to the Terran units, but the Terran has already mostly done its work. Once again, nothing will really get out other than Jimmy. Jimmy will also get picked off, though. The thing is, the spotting pool got picked off, and spotting pools actually take a significant amount of time to build, especially since the adrenal glands upgrade did not finish yet. It's gonna take a long time before Reynor can really get properly aggressive here. Although, judging by his setup, he probably didn't really plan on getting all too aggressive anytime soon. Once again, 4 Medivacs moving here on the left-hand side of the map. A couple of Lurkers in some curious spots. He's expecting a command center over here. Well, it's gonna land in just a sec. Surprise. These Medivac drops are dangerous, though. Let's see. This is weird. Oh, wow. I thought that would be in range. Are they on hold position? I think they may actually be on hold position fire. Yeah, they are definitely in range. I think he's waiting. In the meantime, though, once again, we have these drops. These mineral patches are still not mined away. One of them... Oh, my God. All 3 Vipers? He's trying to get it. Yeah, there you go. 3rd Viper goes down as well. These Lurkers are still not firing, but this is a lot of damage being done by a couple of these drops. There's more and more Terran units heading in this direction as well, and these, oh man, these drops are dealing so much damage. I guess the difference, right, if you play Ling Bane Hydra, your army is more mobile. Lurkers have to be in position in order for them to be useful. Now, the Lurkers, by the way, did move forward here. They're trying to get something done, and they will also get picked off. In the meantime, once again, a whole lot of bio units have just simply started moving on the left-hand side of the map, and INnoVation is looking mighty and powerful in this game. We do have a big push here as well, in the meantime, towards the front of the Terran base. SCVs, though, can repair from them, and even from there, and even though they are at 10 range, they are still going to be hit by those siege tanks just fine. The bio army right now has moved on forward very deep onto the creep. Maybe a little bit overly ambitious, but obviously you can always pick up, boost, and get on out of there. Nicely done there by INnoVation. Essentially got a full base worth over there and then some. Really nicely done. 38 workers in total. Zerg, though, is now getting to the point where they are, like, pretty much fully upgraded, right? I mean, obviously, we don't have the Hydralisk upgrades and then the Lurker upgrades just yet. But it's a really nice set of upgrades to have at this point in the game. +3 is coming up. Adrenal Glands has not been restarted, actually. He doesn't have Adrenal Glands. Ooh, he really does need that, actually. Like, those Zerglings become way more powerful. Maybe he assumed that it would finish? Yeah, I think he probably assumed that it finished right when the units get sniped. But here we go. All of the Lurkers are moving forward. Keep in mind, Blinding Cloud here could be absolutely massive. He instead decides to abduct, though, a couple of those Liberators. Liberators just simply fly back once again. Lurkers actually, rather than moving back, decide to move forward. Very aggressive move here. Planetary Fortress is obviously helping out a lot as well. The Banelings are gonna crash into the Planetary, and Reynor is forced to back up. That was an expensive set of units to lose, and I honestly do not think that that was worth it. Yeah, it looked pretty. Yeah, you killed a Planetary, killed a couple of units as well, but right now, how are you going to deal with this tempo push from the Terran? All of the Vipers were picked off too, right? That's huge. Or at the very least, like, some of them were killed here. Maybe there were still a couple of them remaining. He's making 3 new ones. Those Vipers are so valuable. You need to land those abducts and then all of those blinding clouds and whatnot as well for this army to be worthwhile. In the meantime, by the way, additional command centers, of course, were added on. We have more and more bases being taken. That one won't be mining. A Liberator over here being a nuisance, just forcing that multitasking here from Zerg. Kind of feel like INnoVation could be pushing a little bit more aggressively here, but he's really taking his sweet time, probably waiting for a reinforcement cycle to come in. Oh, those Liberators, man. Those Liberators are so scary. Yeah, those Liberators are starting to become an issue. Losing all those Vipers, how many have gone down so far? 4 in total. It's not even that many. Okay. Well, here they are. I was going to say, like, you need to abduct this in order to deal with them, because otherwise they're going to be able to deal so much damage. Now that the creep is slowly disappearing, though, on the top of that high ground, this is a very scary position for the Terran player to be in. Zerg desperately trying to push this back. Obviously, that's exactly where Lurkers shine. They're really good defensively. Once again, another Lurker, or rather, another Liberator does get abducted. They are being very aggressive with those positionings. And I think eventually, Terran will probably be pushed back, but that was still a lot of damage that the Terran player was able to deal. In the meantime, by the way, love this. While this is all going on, and I don't really know where they're getting their APM, but he's just simply expanding towards the left-hand side of the map. Like, he somehow, some way found the actions per minute. He's going for an orbital. That's brave, okay? That's real brave. I feel like that is a key position for a planetary fortress. I don't think, well, maybe he isn't even really expecting for this one to be here for very long. Maybe he's just expecting for this one. Oh, it gets scouted immediately, yeah. Maybe he needs to lift this one as well in a little bit. Very aggressive. Once again, though, here we go. The reinforcing Terran units have arrived. That's a scary lot of Terran. It's a lot of Liberators. Those additional starports from earlier really helping out. The Vipers do have some good energy, but they're once again flying forward a little bit too far. Parasitic bombs are gonna slow down some of this advancement. We do have some abducts once again as well. But the Terran army is just simply kiting around where the Lurkers are positioned, right? Like they're in the northern section. Bio army goes towards the south. Beautiful positioning here by INnoVation. Manages to pick up that base that he started the advancement to earlier as well. And right now, he's trying to get into the spot where the Zerg is the most vulnerable, right at this reinforcing pattern. At the same time, though, there's a little bit of a Lurker counterattack here on the left-hand side of the map. There is that one missile turret, so he does have the detection available for some of these. Reinforcing Zerg units, though, do come out of their cocoons eventually, and I think this will be something that Zerg can indeed deal with. The question is, though, how much damage does he take here in the meantime? Okay, the scans right there. Liberators also joining in. How much damage can this actually deal? Well, another medevac goes down. Ooh, and actually the supply counts have mostly been evened up. That bank that INnoVation had earlier is now also mostly gone. But still, these mineral patches are not mined out. Why is he not mining out these mineral patches? It seems like such a no-brainer to me. Obviously, it's very easy to judge a player's skill and what they're doing when you're not playing, right? I don't know what what an English saying for it is, but there's a Dutch saying where basically the best like steerman stand on shore. It has to do the best captain stands on shore would probably be like the English equivalent. There's probably an English equivalent for it. Let me know down below in the comment section if there is one. But it's very easy to judge one of these players while you're not actually in the middle of the battle. You're not playing the game yourself. But here we go. Once again, Liberators moving forward. At the same time, we do have the planetary fortress here on the northern section of the map under assault. That one will indeed be killed. A lot of Zerg units, though, die here constantly, right? I see so many Zerg units constantly bleeding out. Yeah, look at those resources lost. That is so much more here. Last SCVs, though, will be picked off. These minerals over here also not mined out, although I'm not too worried about those. Love the addition of the siege tanks here, too, because they do outrange Lurkers. And Reynor, slowly but surely, being forced with his back against the wall. Couple of medevacs do decide to unload some marauders here in the northern section too. These will be cleaned up though. Nicely done. Another medevac goes down the abyss. Alrighty. Is he actually gonna try and secure this? He is. That's nuts. Like this game actually now comes down to those outer bases. There's still a base in the center too. Zerg cannot allow this though. If this is gonna turn into a planetary, it's gonna be a beautiful anchor point here for Terran. So that is why Reynor is moving down this low ground right now, Planetary is going to finish up in just a couple of seconds, so this was the moment to strike. But look at the amount of reinforcing Terran units that make their way over here as well. In the meantime, we do have a small counterattack there with Lurkers and a few Hydralisk too. But the question is this going to be enough? Those Lurkers are dealing a tremendous amount of damage, but I think all of them will be cleaned up. Once again, another scan will confirm the position of that last one. That means that the planetary fortress lives. The army over here gets massacred as well, and INnoVation is smelling blood in the water. He knows right now that his opponent can't have that much remaining, right? The economy has been shattered for quite a while. If he can take out this base, it's basically the last mining position here for Zerg, other than some small mineral patches here on the right-hand side of the map too. 22 drones end up going down in this skirmish already. Reinforcing Liberators right now do come in. There's not that many Hydralisk remaining anymore. He's trying to abduct some of these Liberators. Liberators do get abducted, but there's no follow-up. Like, there's not enough Hydralisk. The Hydralisk are just simply bleeding out into those liberation zones. And eventually, INnoVation obtains the victory against the young Italian. Really well done there. And even though he hasn't had the strongest second half of 2019 compared to the first half, INnoVation by no means shows any signs of slowing down. Both of these players, I at the very least expect to be top-tier contenders for 2020. We'll see what the game looks like in about a year or so from now, but I certainly will keep an eye out on their games myself, so I will try and share those games with you as well. But for now, I want to thank you for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, alright, and I will see you once again in the next one.